Aaron Rodgers adjusting his schedule to accommodate his weekly appearance on the Pat McAfee Show. Usually it's Tuesday. This week it was Monday. He was on yesterday, and I saw this clip. I saw the quotes from Rich Cimini of ESPN.com. I haven't watched the show yet. Was traveling yesterday. Here's Rodgers from Monday with Pat McAfee and company talking about 2025 with or without the Jets.
As far as pay cuts, I think I've already proven I'm willing to take a pay cut. I've made a ton of money, and I think if you look at both Devontae and I's contracts moving forward for next year, there's cap numbers that would need to be worked around if they wanted to bring us both back. But again, there's a lot of things. I think, Pat, you asked like how many people in the organization know that. If they watch the interview, there's people that know that. But I haven't been going around telling people any of this stuff. Rich just asked me a question. I answered it. I haven't decided whether or not I want to play moving forward. They haven't decided, or maybe they have, but haven't told me what their plans are moving forward. I'm guessing they're going to, want to get a GM in here in the next few weeks, and then obviously let the GM be a part of making the coaching selection with who they want to go with. If they haven't made a decision, I mean, I think there's a world where they just say, hey, thank you, we're going to go in a different direction. I've never been released before, so being released would be a first. Being released by a teenager, that would also be a first. So, hey, I'm open to everything. And, I find the comedy in all of it. If that happens, hey, it's a great story.
That's a reference to the story of the week from last Thursday. The idea that Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, is being influenced in personnel matters by his teenage sons, Brick and Jack. And here's what I think Aaron Rodgers is doing. I think it's pretty simple. And this is based on 14 years of finding a lot of intrigue and interest in things Aaron Rodgers says and does. He's trying to set this up so the Jets make the first move. And the Jets have to decide up or down, do we want him? And then he'll decide up or down, does he want to continue playing for the Jets or for anyone? But he's setting this up so they have to make the first move, because I think he's hoping that they tell him, we don't want you back, which allows him to paint himself as the victim in all of this, and it gives him some external motivation to go have a great 2025, and it makes for a better story. See, he talked about a great story. Here's a great story. He gets cut by a teenager, and then he goes to another team and has the kind of year that makes people say, man, the Jets really don't know what they're doing. Now, if they come to him and say, we want you, he may still say, after spending time in the dark room, I don't want to play, or I'd like to be released, whatever it may be. He wants them to make the first move, and I think he's trying to needle them. It's just a little stuff. It's death by 1,000 cuts. He makes a comment here and a comment there, and he's been doing it all year long. Comments about the leaks with the Jets. Comments about ownership not vocally supporting the coach and the GM. That was from a couple of weeks ago. There's just enough there that if you're Woody Johnson and you're paying attention to it, or if you're Brick and Jack, you decide it's time to move on. And you're going to have a new regime, new GM and a new coach. Does a new GM and a new coach want to embrace or nudge away a guy who's most identified with the reason the last two guys got fired? They went all in on Aaron Rodgers. It blew up in their faces, and they got fired. Do you want Aaron Rodgers, who's 41? And yeah, he's put together a few good games down the stretch because he's auditioning for the other teams. He's not trying to get the Jets to keep him. He's trying to get somebody else to say, you know what, we were wrong. He can still play. That's the big difference between him and Kirk Cousins. And nobody knows what's going to happen with either guy. Reported over the weekend that Cousins is going to take a full month away from football after the season and figure things out after that. Cousins has to muster like full body power to throw the ball the way he's accustomed to. And with that Achilles tendon injury and what that's done via rehab and the impairment, it's requiring more out of the rest of his body to muster the power necessary to throw the ball. For Rodgers, it's a flick of the wrist. He's got incredible arm strength, wrist strength, forearm strength, he can just flick the wrist and it's 40 yards down the field. And he can still do that. He'll be able to play next year, and he'll be as good as we've seen him lately as long as he stays healthy. But I just personally believe, after listening to him all year long, there's enough clues there to support a belief that he's trying to get the Jets to say thanks, but no thanks, we're moving on. And then he can say, hey, Jets, I'm going to show you how stupid you were for not keeping me for another year. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.